You're looking at the thinnest 14-inch gaming laptop that I've ever had a chance to get into my studio. This thing is thinner than the G14, thinner than the HP Omen, and has some great performance and even better features. So let's go ahead and dive right in. This is none other than the Alienware X14 R2, a thin and light, beautiful laptop that is super nice to carry around. Has one of the most beautiful internal component organizations that I have seen on a laptop. That's one thing that's really interesting about the Alienwares. The X16, the M16, and the X14, I feel like there was so much thought that went into the internals. However, one thing that stands out to me is that you cannot upgrade the RAM. Becoming more and more common with 14-inch laptops, the RAM is not upgradable. So you will have access to an M.2 drive. There's a singular slot here. But if you want to upgrade that, obviously you'll be swapping the boot drive, so you have to reinstall Windows, and that gets a little on the troublesome side. So what I recommend is using the X14's micro SD card reader to go ahead and add storage to your laptop. You can get a 512 or a 1 terabyte micro SD card and upgrade your storage. Now, the cool thing is you do have 3 USB Type-Cs, USB Type-A, and an HDMI on this laptop. All on the back panel. There's gonna be no ports on either of the side panels, which I like because it really provides the laptop with a thin chassis. You can see the weight and thickness coming up on the screen right now for this laptop. I want to thank Dell for sponsoring this video and highlighting their back to school sale happening right now. They are offering substantial sales on budget-friendly, mid-range, and even premium devices. We're talking about $900 off the Alienware M18 R2 with an RTX 4090. $500 off the G15 gaming laptop, $400 off the Dell XPS 14, $600 off the XPS 16, and $300 off the Inspiron 16. You don't even have to be a student to get these deals. However, if you are a student, you can use Dell's student purchase program to get an extra 5 to 10% off on top of the back to school sales happening right now. All you need is your student email address. And yes, this coupon stacks on top of the current deals. Keep in mind, some exclusions do apply. Click the link in the description below to check out the back to school deals happening right now at Dell.com, as well as the link to the Dell student purchase program. Now, something I wanted to add is I've filmed a lot of content on Dell devices recently. So if you're trying to find the right device for your needs, definitely head on over to my channel or click or tap the Dell playlist, and you can check out the devices that I've reviewed, find the right one for your needs, and get a great deal on it right now with this back to school sale. Now we have an aluminum top cover, bottom cover, and then the side panels wrap up on the side. Love the design. Really, really well done. Now going ahead and taking a look at the interior of the laptop, opens and closes easily with one hand. And the speakers are something that I want to give you a quick sample of. Let me know your thoughts on the speakers. What do you think about them? Now, I know I've been really excited about this laptop all the way up to this point, but one area that really stands out to me as a creative professional that I do not love is this small trackpad. It is secured very well to the chassis, doesn't have any rattliness. It's got a nice, classic, clicky trackpad, but it's just so small. That's one area that's pretty disappointing. Now, what's really cool is the vents go from the top of the keyboard deck all the way through. However, when looking at the thermals and the decibel noise level on the 4K export, we had 43 decibels all the way up to 56 decibels of fan noise while exporting a 4K clip. And we saw about an 85 to 101 degrees Celsius. So although we have really great vents along the top, bottom, and even the side panel, it does not cool the laptop as much as I had hoped. And I believe that's because it is so thin. I believe if these vents were not coming all the way through, this laptop could very well overheat. And I'm not saying that it's going to. I'm saying it could have if they didn't make the right design decision. So I think it was a really, really smart design decision to push the fans all the way through to really pull that air through the laptop so they could cool very well this thin engineering feat, in my opinion. Now going into the keyboard, you can see that we do have a nice snappy keyboard. The keys are a little bit smaller than your average laptop keyboard. They are not as large as, say, like a Lenovo Legion Slim 5 or even the HP Omen. They're a little bit smaller. So that took a little bit of getting used to on the keyboard. We have a smaller shift key on the right side and a full-size shift key on the left with full-size arrow keys. So I would be totally honest and say this is not my favorite keyboard and trackpad setup, but it is something that I could definitely get used to. And one thing that I like a lot about the keyboard is the speaker keys set off to the side. I don't know about you, but I'm always like, oh, where's the turn up and turn down the volume, even on a computer that I've owned for like a long time. So it's nice to know that they're just set off on the side here and very easily accessible. Now, going ahead and taking a look at the screen, we have a 296 nits of screen brightness at 100% sRGB, 91% Adobe RGB, and 100% DCI-P3, all at a Delta E of 1.71. Now, we have an 80.5 watt-hour battery, and that'll get you 6 hours and 35 minutes of streaming video playback. I had hoped for more. However, I will say that this is an H series processor, and these processors have been historically known to not be the most power efficient processors. If you want a more power efficient processor, you should go for something like the latest Intel Core Ultra 9 or something like the Ryzen 9 8945HS, which is in the latest Asus Republic of Gamers Zephyrus G14. Those would be the two processors that I recommend if you're looking for better battery life. However, this laptop does provide great performance, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes within the performance benchmark section of the video. Now, going ahead and taking a look at the laptop, let's see if there's any screen bounce on here. No screen bounce. So if this is a laptop that you're planning on traveling with, whether you do work on an airplane, on a train, or maybe even the back of an Uber from time to time, this will definitely be a great laptop that will not have a lot of shake. And the screen does have a bit of screen wobble. So keep in mind, if you are concerned about screen wobble, it does have a little bit, but more than anything, the bounce is very minimal, which is nice. If you're curious about the exact pricing and availability of the Alienware X14 R2, you can head down in the description below and click those links. If you do make a purchase, I'll get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you. But of course, that's what keeps this channel alive and the helpful content coming your way. Let's go ahead and check out the performance benchmarks. We're going to dive right into 3D modeling with this laptop. You can see we scored a 208 for Autodesk 3ds Max, 203 PTC Creo, a 301 for Autodesk Maya, and a 102 for SolidWorks. This laptop, for how thin and light it is, really shows off in 3D modeling. I did not expect it to have so much performance. I thought there would be a lot of throttling. I thought that it would be limited by the thin chassis, but man, Alienware has done a great job of creating a thin laptop that has great performance. Now, going ahead and looking at Photoshop, same thing. Remember, this laptop has 16 gigs of RAM and it's still pulling off a 7,236 inside of Photoshop. Most laptops pulling off that score have 32 gigs of RAM. This laptop is very well optimized, and it would be a great contender if you're considering a Photoshop laptop, especially somebody who wants something thin and on-the-go friendly. Now, going ahead and looking at the 4K export time, this is a 9-minute 4K clip placed into Premiere Pro, exported out at full quality 4K settings, 2 minutes and 11 seconds, one of the best 4K export times I have seen on my channel this year. Now, one area that I was not overly impressed by was the 6K export. It seemed to be struggling a little bit at 22 minutes and 18 seconds. Not a bad export time, just not as good as some other 14-inch laptops that are currently available on the market. If you want to know my top 5 laptops that I would purchase with my own money, I've made a full dedicated video about the 5 laptop lineup and what I like about each one and the performance and my recommendations on which you should buy. So definitely check it out. This laptop is actually included in that video. Moving down the line to Playback, 4K Playback, 0 drop frames out of the 16,177 in the project. 6K B-RAW Playback, same thing with 16,177 frames in the project, but only 23 drop frames. Absolutely fantastic. And if you look at red footage, only 1,051. There were some $2,000 plus laptops just 2 years ago that could not get results that good. And look at how thin and light this thing is. And the price point. I've seen this thing on sale for around $1,200, $1,249. So you can check out the price in the description below. So it's absolutely ridiculous that this laptop gets such great performance, so thin and light. And it's having this type of performance for heavy tasks. Quite incredible. And that's why it's the best slim 14-inch laptop on the market by far right now. Remember that there are links in the description if you're ready to make a purchase, or click or tap the screen here for more videos to help you with your buying decision. I'll see you in the next one.